Dear viewers, greetings from the English Literature YouTube channel. It is a one-stop destination to soothe all your literary curiosities. In today's video, we are going to continue our discussion on Term and Examination June 2022 question paper of MEG 7, that is Indian English Literature. We have already discussed question number 1, 2, 3 and 4 in our previous videos. So if you haven't watched those videos yet, then do check it out. Here is the question paper.
Question number 5. Discuss the role of Salim as a narrator in Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children. Salim and his creator Rushdie have so much in common that they have been confused with one another. Both are Midnight's children, having been born in the years of India's independence. Salim has shaped the material to give himself a central role. He has depicted every significant event in post-independence Indian history that coincides with his life, the most important being his birth. Salim is not a detached or dispassionate observer. He has projected events in such a manner that make him appear as the hero in the story. Salim has used the logic of memory to reconstruct the past. Naturally, in remembering things, he screens out the unpleasant while retaining their happy memories. Salim is an unreliable narrator in Midnight Children. In the beginning, Salim identifies himself with India, its history and its destinies. Indeed, he is at pains to tell us that a special responsibility had been thrust upon him as a midnight child. He hints to the readers that the bond between him and India is so close that there is a resemblance between his face and the map of India. Salim is very serious and intent on promoting his greatness. His attention to the processes of birth, his birth, the birth of independent India, and the birth of midnight children, even the description of his mother's pregnancy and the growth of the fetus in her womb is a strange description. The embryo is described as having two heads and other abnormal features. He establishes the belief that the history of his life is the history of the country and that he is India and India is Salim. Going further, Salim narrates some of the events which have only a sensationalistic value. They are less important for their meaning than their dramatic appeal. Salim has made great claims about the interconnection between people and events, even though the connection between some events and some people in his life is not clear. For example, the naming of himself in his narration as Salim and not as me. Salim experiences a great sense of loss when he discovers that his family is not his family. Salim seems very well aware of his role in the novel. He has presented two Indias, actual India and his own personalized India, which he refers to as my India or India discovered within his mind. He knows that he has placed himself at the center of the story and that his story is colored accordingly. He also knows that his role is that of a storyteller and an entertainer, and no more. He wants us to believe that he is in control, while in reality he is a non-entity. He is both a storyteller and a parody of one. And most certainly he is not a historian nor a great character destined to play a special role in India's destiny. He is just a person suffering from self-delusion, having lost his family mooring and roots. One of the lowest points in Salim's life is when he becomes a sniffer in the Pakistani Army's officially non-existent canine unit for tracking and intelligence activity. Salim is not a known figure in history or in any other sphere. He is only a fictional autobiographer having no claim to fame in real life. He has tried to accomplish his fame in his narrative by linking events of his own life with his country's history. Salim's self delusions of being in India are parallel to that of an actual Prime Minister of India. Salim cites the slogan that had become quite famous during the emergency: Indira is India and India is Indira.
Question number 5. Or discuss the language and techniques in Mahesh Dattani's play Tara. Mahesh Dattani, a Bangalore based playwright, actor, writer, and director, has written the play Tara in 1990. This play is based on homosexuality, gender identity, revelation of the past, and the hollowness of middle class life and family. If we talk about the languages used by Mahesh Dattani, then we will find that he depicted various languages through characters of the play. He has used Indian English with great confidence and captured the rhythms of the spoken language. The family described by him is formed by an interstate marriage. The mother is Kannadiga and the father is Gujarati. The children have been to public schools where the medium of education and interactions is English. The medium of communication in such a family would be English, but this doesn't mean that they don't know other languages. There is a character named Rupa who breaks into Kannada once she knows that the Patel family has come from Bangalore. Dattani has made cruel fun of the girl's lack of control over English. There are several jokes in the play based on Rupa's English. He established the fact that there is a certain level of acceptability to standard middle class Indian English. The stress and intonations need not be British, nor need the language to be grammatically correct. There could be Indian words as well as allusions and metaphors, but this doesn't mean that any kind of English is acceptable. Deviations from this English is necessarily comic and point to the lower status of the character. Almost all the humor in the play is linguistic. He has used the language with great dexterity to individuate characters as well as to detail a social milieu. Tara is not a straightforward realistic play. Memory and flashback play a major role throughout the play. It depicts everyday lives. Dattani has used all the resources of theatre at his command, from creating different labels on the stage to give double roles to actors, to effective use of lighting and music. All this allows him to collapse the past and present as well as geographical locations. Dattani has divided the stage into labels. There are three labels present throughout the play, which allow cinematically effect. The realistic label represents Dan as a writer in London. The other two labels are either imagined or remembered, that is Dr. Thakkar's label and Patel's household. Dattani moves from one label to another with lightning speed using lightning and music. When the play begins, a spot picks up Dan. As he begins to imagine the past, music begins to play faintly, and then a spot lights up the stage level, and Tara and Chandan walk into it. Then the light crossfade to Patel's living room, and the action moves there. Again, when Dr. Thakkar is introduced to us, the light picks him up while Dan fades into darkness. Dattani has used this technique very cleverly to jump at any label without any breaks in the changing scenes. This technique gives the play the feeling of unity of action.
He uses music to create certain moods as well as to reveal certain characters. When Dr. Thakkar is introduced to us, a television style signature tune has played to set up the interview format and also to signal a different movement in the play. We have also seen how Dattani used the technique that presents two actors playing the same character but at different stages of life. We see Dan as well as Chandan on a stage at the same time, even if at different levels. This underlines the fact that Dattani isn't writing as a realistic play, but it surely is meant to do more than that. Dattani introduced a few characters unseen and unheard throughout the play. For example, Praful. Praful is Patel's brother in England who was introduced quite early in the play as the person who would take care of Chandan's future education. This technique has been used by Dattani to quickly and economically perform the play with fewer characters. Dattani has tried to use all the resources of theatre to make an effective dramatic statement. This is not a realistic play and hence it has not a mushy ending. The siblings have been finally separated by nature but reunited by sentiment. The segmented stage, lighting, and music used by Dattani in Tara allow him to use the stage almost cinematically. The play has well made structure which gives us a feeling of the real world without the features of theatrical realism. Dattani's humor is an integral part of this play.
Here, the discussion on term and examination question paper of MEG 7, June 2022, comes to an end. Stay tuned with us for more such informative videos. Thanks for watching.